An ordinance that would fine people living on the streets in Metro Louisville has sparked outrage. In a press conference held just hours ago, activists expressed concern over the hefty amount of money people would have to pay. Then they walked over to Metro Hall, where council members are discussing that new bill. And that is where we find Bobby McSwine and photojournalist Alyssa Newton. Bobby, tell us a little bit about these changes to the ordinance.
Yes, Shay. Well, some of those changes include it used to be 48 hours before they could clear that camp, but now they moved it to 72 hours to make that compliance a little bit easier to follow. And this ordinance would make it illegal to camp on public property, a fine that can carry about $50 to $200. And it would make it illegal to store your items on public property with similar fines imposed. And so, like you said, we have heard from the ACLU and other activist groups who say this is inhumane to carry someone's items and throw them in the garbage. Listen to what they had to say.
Not the solution. As outreach workers, my team sees on a regular basis the damaging effect it has on a person who has already has severe trauma and is at their lowest, to have their possessions thrown away.
Metro Council members say this is about protecting citizens who say they can't use public sidewalks, parks, and other areas safely. Bill sponsor Nicole George says her district sees the most encampments in Metro Louisville.
It carries specific health consequences and elevated risk. Consider the single mom who's trying to push her child in a stroller to the bus stop, the young person who's headed to the school bus stop, the person in a wheelchair who's trying to navigate the sidewalk.
And this bill does include provisions, one being a risk assessment for encampments that have been in place for more than 3 days. The ordinance says Metro government would use a, quote, consistent methodology to determine the risk to public health. Organizations designed to help displaced people would be contacted, and residents must be given a 21-day notice before forced to relocate. Now, this would not apply to areas permanently deemed inappropriate for camping, but that has yet to be determined what those permanent spaces would be. And it does say Metro employees who don't follow the ordinance could be disciplined. Councilmember Bill Hollander is a vocal opponent to this ordinance. He also spoke at that press conference earlier.
All right, Bobby, we have to ask, what happens if the people who are actually living on the streets who get these fines can't pay for them?
Yes, Shay, well, that was not directly answered, but Councilmember George says that there has to be some type of threshold in order to enforce compliance. But for now, I'm live in downtown Louisville. Bobby McSwine, WHAS 11 on your side.